Hi, welcome to the My Reader Minutes. If you're new here, welcome. To all my new subscribers, thank you for joining me on my journey. Hey y'all heard about the well, she's not a new Diddy accuser. Actually, she had filed a lawsuit. And I want to say the girl um not the girl, the lawyer that is representing Courtney Burgess had um represented this lady at one time too. And for some reason, I heard that she dropped her, but then she went back, picked her up. Is this the one? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Anywho, oh, I do. Anywho, so this lady, she is an exotic dancer. She's been a P star, corn star, rhymes with P. Okay. And she talks about the Diddy parties and how she was, invited to the white parties and how, I guess, I don't know if this guy and her, they're from California. The guy that she was dating or very good friends with, it wasn't really clear. I want to say she said they were dating, but they were best friends. And they came out to New York because he was a model. Well, they were both models, but he was pursuing, or he was invited out to, I guess, audition for Sean John at the time. Handsome guy. He was a biracial guy. The pictures that they showed, he was really cute. I don't remember him in any of the ads, but he could have been. I mean, I don't remember any Sean John ads actually, but I know there were some. Um, and he tells his story about how she tells their story about how they met P. Diddy and the things that went on. And I'm going to let y'all listen to her because she tells the story better. However, I'm not going to show it because I don't know whether or not the Lionel B show will strike. Don't want any strikes on my channel. I don't have but a couple of subscribers and I'm trying to keep everything growing. I'm a small YouTuber, so I have to start out small. But I've been keeping track of the case and, reporting on it when I get new stuff. Now, I had listened to this interview a couple of days ago, but I was on the train on my way to work and I was able to listen to it in full. And wow. All I can say is wow. Her story kind of emulates others, but she does give a little bit more detail, especially, and then there's a video. She talks about the girl that was laying on the table. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that video. She said the girl that was laying on the table was only 14. And then she said she was eating fruit off of her. And and she says, and he sits around and he records and he said and she says she was set up with a couple of different um A-listers, politicians, and Diddy was taping these people so he could use the footage as leverage or whatever. Or if you weren't um bisexual or whatever, he would try to get you to be with the minor so he could hold that over you and everything. So she tells the story. But the girl, who she said is laying out on the table, and they show a video, some video footage. I don't know if there were stills. I want to say part of it was a video, part of it was a still. But the girl was laying on the table like she was an entree, and she had food all on her or whatever. But my thing is, if she was 14, even though she was like blurred out in certain parts, isn't that still considered child, you know, pornography? I mean, I would think that would be if indeed the girl was 14. I don't know. According to, I think her name was Adrena. What is her name? Adrena English. According to her, she was only 14 at the time. But let you listen to some of what she says. Here we go.
Cute story. I'm from California. Prior, I had never been on the East Coast in my entire life. Never been to Florida. I never been to New York. Nowhere on the East Coast. And a guy I was dating, Anthony Gallo, he's from Cali. We were both from Cali. He got an opportunity. He got scouted by a guy in LA who was a reputable agent, scouting agent. It was initially Wilhelmina models. And so they gave him the opportunity to come to New York for an audition. When he went out there, he ended up getting a lot of callbacks. But he was back in LA, and they said, well, you're getting all these callbacks, but if you're going to model for real, we need you out here. So he had never been on the East Coast either. So he was like, and at this time, my family had found out that I had done adult movies. Now, mind you, I had an ex-boyfriend, Jake Stee. He was my boyfriend at first, and he manipulated me into the adult film industry. I only did 8 movies in a 6-month period of my life in the year 1999, but those 8 movies in 6 months follow me to this day. And I signed a residual contract, and Jake Steve been collecting all the money. He done put me on Pornhub. I'm everywhere. And they said he hiding out South America. He been collecting my money the last 20-some years. I'm the one that gave Ray J and Kim Kardashian a connect. If you look at the production team, you can see we have the same production team. You see mine was filmed first. Me, Ray J, Brandy, we all grew up in the same church, the Church of Christ. Brother Norwood, their father is my vocal coach. So that's how we already knew each other. But they got famous with theirs because Kim Kardashian had a little bigger of a name because of her dad. So when Anthony got scouted, we ended up, my family had found some member of our church, my church from 9 years old had found out I did adult movies. They brought it to the minister who brought it to my parents. And when I came home from work, I was working as a telemetry technician in a critical care unit at Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach. And when I came home from my shift, my parents had it on the big screen. Me with a it in my mouth.
No. Oh my God. That's crazy. That is so crazy.
Life, I still feel the memory, and it haunts me the same way Diddy haunts me to this day. I can still remember the way I felt, how my parents looked at me, and then so when Anthony got the opportunity to move to New York, I was like, man, hell yeah, because I did.
Now I'm gonna show you a picture of who she's talking about. Kind of looks like Diddy's type. Just saying.
The movies in '99, but they didn't find out until 2004. And that was the same time Anthony got asked to move to New York. So I said, man, I'm going with you. And then when we got out there, Anthony was going to go see whatever. He ended up getting an audition with Ford models, and then Ford signed him. That was Cassie Ventura's same agency. And so we were from Cali, and we had an apartment in the middle of Manhattan. So all the models in between their go-sees and their auditions would come hang out at our apartment. And we had the weed, and that's when weed was hella illegal. So we was from Cali, we had the weed. Anthony looked good. I was working at Larry Flynt's Hustler Club, so I was already the hottest stripper because Manhattan is only 11 miles, about 13 miles. I'm from Cali, the West Coast. All the East Coast people grew up together. They don't know me and Anthony like that, so they're intrigued. I look good, he look good. It's 20 years earlier. I'm 46 right now. I'll be 47 in January. So imagine me in my 20s, you know what I'm saying? Body was extra banging, and even now, everything's real, butt real, lips real, nose real. I've never had a million behind me, so just imagine that. So tell us a little bit more. Sign up for models. Cassie is coming up over to our apartment, hanging out. We're all friends. We actually start. Oh, you hanging out with Cassie? Yeah, she would come over our apartment too, because her and Anthony were both signed to Ford models. We were convenient right there in the middle of the city. So in between your auditions, your casting, you would come smoke weed and hang out at the bomb couple from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? We had the doorman building. We was popping. And so we all had our own private stories of because East Coast music was a soundtrack to our lives. From the West Coast, like We was fans of everybody. Mary J. Blige, Biggie, 112, Craig Mack, Mace, Black Rob, Dirty Money, Diddy, everybody, Lil Kim, shout out to Lil Kim. I got to meet her with T-Pain. She's very nice. She was very nice to me. So when we got there, we all had our own when me and Anthony got there, we had our own vision of what we would do if we ever met these certain people, Jay-Z, Diddy, and all that. And then Cassie did too. Her and Anthony were aspiring models. And Cassie wanted to sing and stuff. Anthony, he just more wanted to model, smoke weed, look good, get it.
Now look at him. Gorgeous. Y'all remember him on the Sean John campaigns? I don't remember him. Well, I don't remember any of the campaigns. But if you try to look it up online, I don't recall seeing him. But moving on.
Type shit. Cassie, she wanted to model, but she wanted to sing. She wanted to be an entertainer. And so we all had dreams to meet Diddy. So then, fast forward, Anthony ends up getting called to audition for Diddy for the Sean John campaign. So he never invites me along to his auditions or his go-sees, but this particular day he invited me because he knew I was a fan. Like, he knew I was gonna be mad he went to the damn thing and you didn't take me. You know what I mean? Because wanted to meet people and stuff. I was already a dancer. I was already moving and shaking. I already had a gang of athletes and whatever. But the music industry, because I rap and sing, that's where I wanted to get into. So, long story short, we sitting in the waiting room, and one of his homeboys that frequents our apartment comes out of the thing, and he's looking mellow mad, like. And so, low key, me and Anthony laughing. We like, he must not have booked it. Like, he's salty. Like, we laughing to each other, like, And then they called him. And then when they called him, I'm like, yeah, you got this, man. I'm dapping on you. And that's when two-way pages was out. So when they called, I flipped my two-way up. So I'm on my two-way lining up some money for later on. All of a sudden, I just hear, man, fuck that. And the door app flew up. And it was, I'm like, what? And like Anthony is a very good looking guy. His mother is, African American black lady, and his father is an Italian man. And actually, the wine, Gallo wine, that's his family. And allegedly, his dad got basically shunned from his family for choosing up on a black woman. And he went on to have a few kids, and all of them are boys, and they're all very good looking guys. But his dad chose to be poor to follow his heart and be with a black woman. And so allegedly, his dad still to this day rides a bike in Northern California. He's from Northern California. He had moved down to LA. And so even though he was a good looking guy mixed with black and Italian, he wasn't no punk. Like, it wasn't no gay in him, it wasn't no, bitch in him. Like, he had like a thug, but he a pretty boy. So, like, I guess they underestimated him, thinking that because he was so good looking that he go that way. So he was more than offended. He was on some gangster shit. Like, he got me fucked up. So when we were in the elevator, I was like, "Man, what happened?" He was like, "Man," he gave me a look like, "Man, shut the." And I was like, "All right," because it was people in the elevator. So I was like, "All right, all right." So when we got out the elevator, I'm like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Why are you tripping?" He was like, "Man, nigga asked me to suck his dick." I said, "Who asked you to suck his dick?" He said, "Puffy." We was calling him Puffy back then. Puff. I said, "No, he didn't." And it broke my heart, broke her arm. And I was like, "No." And he was like, he asked me to suck his dick. I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Well, then, I see why, you know what I mean? For sure. Like, it's a wrap. Yeah. He's like, "I don't need that job. That's fucking bad." So I was like, "For sure." You know what I mean? We got in the cab. We went back to our apartment. His homeboy ended up coming through. We smoked blunts. We laughed at it. We was like, that, you know what I mean? But then, because I was a dancer, I'm also in the regular go-go club scene. And I ran into Tamiko Thomas, who ended up being, I call her a handler, one of Diddy's handlers, wranglers. And she approached me with opportunity to help me and Anthony out. If I would dance at Diddy's white parties, Anthony can go ahead and book the campaign. I agreed to dance at the white parties. Anthony booked the Sean John campaign. He was everywhere. He was on billboards, buses, bus stops, cabs, in the magazine, all at the same damn time. It was everywhere. But right now, if you go and try to Google any one picture of that Sean John campaign, Diddy done scrubbed it all. I can't even hardly find a picture. Now, did Diddy remember him whenever he eventually got that gig? Was he like, oh yeah, I remember you? Yeah, because when he booked it, after they had like a lounge party where it was like a celebration, like hey, the new campaign, let's all, and it was a very small lounge, like only the models was there, the creative director, the photographer, Diddy, a couple other people, and that's it. And so he went over it. So it was kind of like, thank you for letting your girl work my party. You know what I mean? You came out great, my nigga. He didn't say my nigga. He said, we get my, what did he say? What did he say? You came out great, my guy. You're killing it, baby. You killing it. You know what I mean? So he basically tried to like go over the fact that he had asked him to suck his, because he tried him and he didn't fall for it. So he felt stupid. He didn't know he was that thug. So what was your reaction to that? I know you both of you guys were upset, but were you thinking like, damn, ain't no Diddy was like this? Were you guys shocked? I was, because I had been an ex, porn star, and I was currently an exotic dancer. For me, it was regular scheduled programming. Like, it's just what rich people with money do. Like, he tried it. He wanted to see, you know what I mean? To me, it was more funny, but Anthony took more offense. Like, no, like, he got me fucked up. So I had let it go. I was over it. But when they asked me to work the parties, I was like, hell yeah, I would have did that shit down there for free.
So it's not that he is bi or gay. I'm assuming rich people just have a kink. They have a humiliation kink. They like to humiliate people. And they feel like their money, in my opinion, you'll do anything if you hard up for, whatever it is you're seeking to do. He knew that he wanted to be a model. He knew that he was interested in being on Sean John. And his thing was, deuces, I don't have to do that. And that's what I don't understand. Why do rich people think you have to turn tricks? It's like, y'all not sex deprived. And why is it that you have to do tricks in order to get what you want? I mean, when it came to Abercrombie and Fitch, same thing. He promised them people modeling careers, but they had to do this in order to get that. She talks even more if you want you, and I suggest y'all go over to Lionel B's channel, but she talks even more about how she was invited to the parties. She just, but she wanted to sing too. I think she is a singer. And his thing was, well, after she said she had a stage. She said there was 3 stages at his house. And she took a stage. One other girls took a stage. I think the 14-year-old had a stage. And then there was Tamika who took a stage. Now she talks about how the 14-year-old was on the stage, but she had to go to the bathroom. And Diddy would not let her stop to go to the bathroom. So she just went to the bathroom on the stage, and she pooped on stage. And she said, and it wasn't, she said it wasn't like, it was soft. It was like liquidy or whatever. So it must have sprayed everywhere. And Denzel was there. Now, I don't know if y'all ever heard of the story about how Denzel pulled up on him and said, you don't have no respect for nobody and blah, 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 and laid his ass out and then grabbed his wife and left. Well, that was the time she talks about. She said that was the time when Denzel was there. After she pooped, that's when he grabbed Puffy, and laid his ass out, talking about he don't have no respect for nobody. And then she said, then Puffy took her in the house or took her in the back room or whatever and whipped on her or whatever. She tells that story. But again, promising these girls these modeling careers, singing careers or whatever, and you got to come and do this first. I'm sorry. No. No. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I think the whole video in total is like 40 minutes, and he's asking questions, but those are the highlights that resonated in my mind. It's like her story, I feel like it might be somewhat true. I mean, they actually have um footage, and they show a little bit of here and there of the different things that went on. But really got me though was the 14-year-old. Allegedly, that girl was 14. She said, but she said Denzel didn't know. Nobody knew. She said that the girl was 14 because she was built like a grown woman. She was already, developed and everything. So nobody knew how old she was. But again, it takes me back to that girl. What's the girl that's on all over TikTok? Her name is, I think, Allie Carter. And she talks about the tunnels all over, I guess Beverly Hills or LA or wherever, where all the rich people are. Like there's tunnels that go through the different mansions or houses or whatever. But anyway, I remember her telling a story about how the girls were laid up on tables as if they were party favors. And there were children, not girls, but children laid up. And then she also name drops in here about some celebrities that were there that were kind of complicit. So I suggest you all go tune into Lionel B. I just wanted to give you a little piece of that, but it was crazy. It's crazy. And again, honestly, for real, if half this stuff is true that he did, he needs to stay in there. I keep going back and forth because I feel like every time I hear something, I'm more like, what? They lying. Because my mind can't wrap around the fact that this man who has done so much for the culture, at least what we could see, has gone to this all-time low. Now, I get that there's domestic violence. People live with domestic violence every day, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, and wife. And I'm not saying what he did was great or good, or I do not condone violence. But things happen in relationships. I can see him acting like that with his girlfriend. You know what I mean? But when it comes to calling and ordering, S workers to screw her while he watched, that's a kink that he's into. Clearly she thought it was okay because she did it for a while. I think she did it one time and then she didn't want to do it no more. And then she was like, no, I can't do this. And he whipped her butt. That's not how that went down. They did that for years. She was a part of that because she was down for it, at least in the beginning, because I'm sure, like I said, it didn't start. It probably is heavy as it ended up. Because I think, he had an appetite. And his appetite, woo! And then they said that he did the same thing with Kim Porter. Now, whether he did S workers with Kim Porter, I don't know. But Gene Deal talks about how they invited Kim Porter and him invited people into their bedroom. I don't know. He was the bodyguard. I don't know. I wasn't there. So I'm just going by what they say. Anywho, long story short, if children were involved, he deserved to be right where he is. 14, 17, I don't care. No. Anyway, y'all, tell me what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe. And everyone be blessed. Peace.